the YouTube channel of Sai Ram Academy. This is Dr. Parth Trivedi on behalf of Sai Ram Academy. Nowadays, especially if you consider physiotherapy, research in India is gaining its momentum. Everybody in the field of physiotherapy is talking about research. Each and every individual is asking for proof regarding the treatment chosen and the treatment administered. At a particular level, the client population, that is our patients, are also understanding the importance of research based treatment. When you term research, the first thing which comes in our mind is a patient related approach of the treatment. Whether the treatment which is given is tried, accepted worldwide or not. There is always a question that the research which is being conducted, is it an authentic research or it is just on paper research? So there are various types of research, and I think Sai Ram Academy is putting very nice efforts to explain. I have seen previous lectures of Professor Arunachalam sir where he has tried to explain how to define the research problem, how to select the journals. Yes, so this is in continuation with that topics, that research is the key evidence. Research is the key place where an individual treatment, based on which an individual treatment is necessary. When you term about clinical trial is very much familiar to the pharmacovigilance people, and pharmac pharma industry needs a basic pharma industry needs a basic clearance for putting a drug into the market. But when you term it about physiotherapist, we still don't have any regulatory body which decides that which kind of treatment is necessary and which kind of treatment is not necessary, or which has a poor evidence for a particular condition. So looking into the current scenario of COVID-19, you would have seen that there is no as such documented treatment. This means there are no proof. There is no proof that is one treatment effective or not. So all the treatments are under trial. Now, whenever you are doing a controlled trial, yes, it is mandatory to register your trial into a clinical trial registry of India if you are doing it in India. This clinical trial regulatory registry of India is CTRI, what we term, is governed by ICMR, Indian Council for Medical Research, and basically the DCGI, Drugs Control Regulatory of India, monitors this. So the basic concern of today's, or basic lecture of today's topic is how to register your trial. So it is my uh, sincere advice to all the budding therapists or uh, researchers who are well known in this field but who are not aware that how to register in clinical trial registry of India. It is very simple, it is free of cost, and you need to update it on regular intervals, and you need to update that, you know, at the end when your trial is completed. So what this does this matter? It is a registry. So why this registry is important? Point number one, this registry, if your trial is registered in this registry, this means it is an authenticated study. First thing. Second thing is, this registry maintains the records of all these kinds of trials, so the duplication of the study is avoided. And the third thing, majority of the good journals, popular journals, required a CTRI or registry, clinical trial registry number, if you want to publish a paper regarding the same. So moving forward, what we are going to discuss in this is, what is clinical trial registry of India, what to register, when to register, who registers this, how to register, and then at the end, practical tips. So, as I said, clinical trial registry of clinical trials hold enormous potentials for benefiting patients, improving therapeutic regimens, and ensuring advancements in medical practice that is evidence based. So, here we are talking particularly about evidence based. So, this evidence, yes, for example, you are administering IFT for a ONE patient. This ONE patient, if asked that why you are administering me IFT, why not TENS, why not ultrasound, you should have a particular evidence that these many trials have been done on IFT and this is effective. So this is your first line of treatment, and then you have second line of whatsoever it is. Yes, so that is why clinical trials holds an enormous potential. For whom? Basically for the patients, which improves the therapeutic regimens, ensures advancement in medical practice, which is evidence based. But on to the unfortunate side, the data and reports of various trials are often difficult to find. Yes, so there are people who generally do studies, yes, and they don't document into registries. This clinical trial registry of India is one. WHO maintains another registry. US has its own registry. UK has its own registry. Every nation have their own registry. Says so in India, still, if I talk about physiotherapy, still this documentation lacks. Yes, so that is why unfortunately the data and reports of various trials are often difficult to find, and in some cases do not exist, as many as trials have been abandoned, are not published due to negative or equivocal results. This means if I am doing a trial on A versus B in X condition, so it is clear, if I have submitted to the clinical trial registry of India, the clinical trial registry of India go through this, yes, and sees whether the A treatment and B treatment are already been compared for X or not. If yes, then why this study is new? If no, is this going to be beneficial to the society? And is there any adverse effects of this trial? So based on various parameters, this registry goes and then it gives you a unique identification number like your Aadhaar card, voter ID card, driving license. These numbers remain same. So the CTRI number which has been given to your study remains same, so it becomes easy to find out this trial on the internet sources. So giving the brief outline, that clinical trial registry of India is hosted at ICMR's National Institute of Medical Sciences Statistics. Yes, ICMR's Indian Council for Medical Research, National Institute of Medical Statistics, which is a free and online public recording system for registration of clinical trials, which is being conducted in India and launched on 20th July 2007. Initially, it was on voluntary basis, and then from 15th June 2009, it is mandatory. Please see, I'm focusing. It is mandatory to register your clinical trial. Yes, so if we are not registering in clinical trial, this means our study is null and void. The journals which accepts these clinical trial, please see whether it is being authentic without the CTRI numbers or registry number, whether this is an authentic journal or not. So if you are doing a clinical trial, it is mandatory post 2009 that you are supposed to register in CTRI. So the website is www.ctri.nic.in. and it has been controlled by Drugs Control General, DCGI, India. So who wants to register? Who has to register this? Any researcher who plans to conduct a trial, whether involving human participants, interventions like drugs, surgical procedures, preventive measures, lifestyle modification, devices, educational, behavioral treatment, rehabilitation strategies, as well as trials conduct related to the Department of Ayush, it is compulsory. So if somebody says Clinical Trial Registry of India, we are physiotherapist, we are not interested in registering because we don't come under any MCI guidelines or ICMR guidelines. Please forget about this. Yes, if you are not aware, please update your knowledge regarding this. We do come under this CTRI. It is, if we are a researcher, if we are conducting any research based on human participants, which is related to any device, any drugs, any interventions, whether it is lifestyle modifications or rehabilitation strategies, we do take part in. We are an active role of playing a major role in rehabilitation. Yes. Okay. So we have to register our clinical trial in this CTRI. So what happens if you register? After a trial is registered, a trial. So once it has been registered, it is not like your just a roll number or probably any number which has been given to by any authority to you, that you will be an inactive participant. Yes, if you are registering in CTRI, yes, CTRI gives you a number, and on periodical interventions you are supposed to update it. There are certain domains which are not allowed to be updated until and unless you send them an official mail, so that they will unlock that domain. Okay, but you are supposed to update. Once you update, all these updated changes are shown publicly on CTRI website. So if I've registered my trial today, CTRI expects that on regular intervals, as for your phase wise, you update your trials. So if you are updating your trials, so for example, my phase 1 is going to complete in August 2020. So I am supposed to write that my phase 1 has completed in August 2020. I have done a number of these numbers of publication. The number of publications are related to this, and this is the outcome, and I'm this. And for example, if my study gets over by December 2020, I'm supposed to mention that this was the my study has got over, my participants have been selected, everything is been done, and this is the result, brief summary. So all these things are being publicly displayed onto the website. So what is the mission of CTRI? It is basically to encourage all the clinical trials conducted in India to be prospectively registered. Prospectively registered. Prospectively. I'm terminating again prospectively. Prospectively. Why? Because after 2018 February, the trials cannot be registered prospectively. The trials cannot be registered retrospectively. It is compulsory to register a trial prospectively. What does this mean? This means prior to enrollment of first participant into the study, the trial should be registered. It is very much mandatory that before the enrollment of the first participant, you should have registered your study in Clinical Trial Registry of India, and you should have the numbers. Yes, from 2009 till 2018, it was allowed to register your trial retrospectively. So if you have done a study in 2010 and then you get a number, okay, based on various parameters, but now it is not allowed. The vision of CTRI is to ensure that every clinical trial conducted in the region is prospectively registered. and with full disclosure of the trial data set limits. Okay. Now, what to register? As I said, all trials conducted in India, whether it is randomized trials or non-randomized trials, irrespective of that, whether it is single blinded study or double blinded study, or whether it is one patient, whether it is 30 patients, or whether it is 100 patients, irrespective of human participants, any intervention like drugs, preventive measures, surgical procedures, modifications, devices, educational or behavioral treatments, rehabilitation strategies, even the treatments of Ayush departments, that is Ayurveda, Yoga, Naturopathy, Unani, and Siddha, and homeopathy, are expected to register. Clinical trials who are being undertaken by postgraduate students. Yes, so basically in medical sciences field, once you do your undergrad and then you go to post graduation, yes, this post graduation field students, you know, are supposed to do a dissertation or so called thesis, and even in PhD you are supposed to do thesis, where you are supposed to do a study on human participant. There also you are supposed to register. So, I have come across n numbers of questions or n numbers of argument, I would say, why it is necessary for a student to register into a clinical trial registry of India, or probably into any registry. It is mandatory, or it is compulsory. Okay, because you are doing a trial in India, first thing. Second thing, you are involving a human participant. Third thing, you are doing a rehabilitative strategy, and all this comes under CTRI, CTRI, CTRI. So, the golden truth or the golden word is, when you are in doubt whether I am supposed to register or not, it is better to register. Okay, so the golden words are, when you are in doubt, it is better to register. It is always free of cost, and it is good to register yourself. When to register? As I said, now we are supposed to register only prospectively. So the trial should be registered in the CTRI before the enrollment of the first patient. Who registered? It is the duty of principal investigator to register the trial. Okay, so uh, once you register in CTRI, uh, the CTRI has an option. I will discuss about the data sets. Okay, we'll discuss about the data sets in detail in this presentation, but I'll just give you a brief idea. They have a principal investigator and they have a secondary investigator. Principal investigator is nothing but the main author, or main and corresponding author, as you term it in scientific language. So principal investigator is responsible for the study. For example, if I am doing a study with Professor Arunachalam, I am the principal investigator. He is the co-author or probably secondary investigator. So I will mention his details, his name, his affiliations, his email address, and my names and affiliation. So what does CTRI do? It sends an email to Professor Arunachalam to confirm whether he is the secondary investigator or not. First thing, if necessary, yes, if I've added the sponsor, it asks the sponsors also whether the study is being sponsored or not. So they are cross checking before giving you the number. So it is not a joke to register in CTRI. It is a matter of pride. It is a matter of pride if you get a CTRI number. Okay, if you get a CTRI number for your study, a researcher should be proud enough that you have a CTRI number. Yes, so it is the duty of principal investigator to register. Prime sponsor can register if so agreed in memorandum of understanding, that is MOU. Okay, in a multi-center or multi-sponsor trial, the lead PI, that is your principal investigator or lead sponsor, should register the study. Okay, in multinational trial, the Indian PI should register the trial in CTRI, mentioning the relevant registration numbers in the registry of other countries. So there are possibilities if I am doing efficacy of IFT in ONE, in Indian population, in South American population, in African population, and in Chinese population. Just giving a brief example. So it is a multinational. Okay. So if I want to register in CTRI, what I am supposed to do is, I, being an Indian author, it is my responsibility to register in CTRI, and it is my responsibility to correspond with CTRI. First thing. Second thing, wherever, for example, South America, Africa, China, yes, all these nations have their own registry. So all of them, okay, all the research participants who are there in those nations are supposed to register in that nations also, or else you can register in WHO registry and give those numbers. So they are actually linked. So if you give Chinese registration number, this study will also be reflected. If you give American, this study will be reflected. If you give WHO number, okay, this study will be reflected. So basically it is linking. It is nothing but like linking your Aadhaar card with your PAN card. Okay, so you, through your Aadhaar card, all your PAN details are being accessed. Okay, linking your Aadhaar card with your driving license. So to one number, every these things are being linked. So this is the important uh, topic, how to register. It is very simple. You just go on to www.ctri.nic.in. Yes, onto the left column you would see registration instructions, logging. So you need to first sign up. So they will give you on your email, they will give you a username and password. Yes, and this password is your permanent username and passwords are permanent. So once registered, he or she can go ahead with the registration of the trial. New trial is then added using CTRI registration dataset. Now we will be discussing about CTRI registration dataset. So here you can see this is the CTRI registration dataset. So public title of the study intended for layman. So for example, my study title is efficacy of shortwave diathermy and ultrasound in rehabilitation of osteoarthritis knee. Okay, this is my scientific title, which is second. Okay, which is as per the protocol and approved by the ethics committee. So public title will be a layman title in which a layman can understand this title. So it can be, where I have used efficacy, the term can be changed as effectiveness. So effectiveness of shortwave diathermy and ultrasound, I have used rehabilitation in my scientific study. Here I can use in the treatment of osteoarthritis knee. Okay, and you can, if you are considering in a local population, for example in Gujarat population or for in Tamil Nadu population, you can have a public title in the regional language also. Now why this public title is important? Because as per the declaration of Helsinki, first thing, the registration number is important, and second thing, your ethics approval is important. Third thing, informed consent is important. Informed consent, yes, you don't get an ethics approval until and unless there is a patient informed consent. Okay, so if you don't get patient informed consent, if you don't get ethics approval, you don't get ethics approval, you don't get CTRI. Okay, so it is very much important that the public title should be in a very simpler name. So in informed consent, if you tell efficacy of shortwave diathermy and ultrasound in the rehabilitation of osteoarthritis knee, majority of population is not going to understand. Majority of population is not going to understand. So here the public title should be in a very simple language. Okay, or comparison of shortwave and ultrasound, or mm, as I said, effect of so and so in osteoarthritis knee can be taken as a title. So in informed consent, if you explain the patient that this study title is so, you are being selected in this study and you are supposed to participate. If you don't, if you are free to move out of this study at any point of time, this will not hamper your treatment also. So all these parameters comes under informed consent, and these parameters are very much important in informed consent, and ethics committee looks after this. Please make your informed consent very foolproof, and generally it should be in bilingual. Generally it should be in bilingual. If I say bilingual, this means a standard language and a regional language. So if I termed it as a standard language, English becomes a internationally acclaimed language, and regional language can be the region or at least a national language. So it should be bilingual, and that is why the public title of the study is important. So if there is any acronym, you should add secondary ID, as I said, in the multinational trials or in the WHO. WHO also has its own registry, so you can register in that and you can quote that WHO registry number also in CTRI. Then the principal investigator name, address, contact details, contact person for scientific inquiry, and contact person details for public inquiry. So they can be same, they can be same, and they can be different. Okay, so it is generally advisable to have a scientific query person different and a public query person different. Why? Because in the cases, if you have n numbers of queries, you have two different people addressing the queries, and it becomes very fast to address the queries. And secondary thing is, once you want to go for publication, you can mention the roles of individuals in what were the in your scientific papers. So and especially for PG students, postgraduate students, which we have discussed, that it is mandatory if you are doing a clinical trial to register your study into CTRI. Contact person details of scientific query should be you, the first principal investigator, the PhD scholar, or your PG student. And contact person for public query, you can put your guide or co-guide's name, okay, your research supervisor's name. Sources of monetary and material support, if there is any funding is there or not. In that case, who is the primary sponsor, who is the secondary sponsor, countries of recruitment, so whether you are doing it in India only or whether you are doing it multinationally. Sites of study, if you are doing it in India, which are the sites? For example, if I am doing in Gujarat, so in Gujarat, what are the sites? Ahmedabad district, Gandhinagar district, Kutch district, Mahisagar district, etc. Name of the ethics committee and approval status. Scanned document of ethics committee approval is necessary. This is the major point where DCGI and CTRI looks into. I don't say that the rest points they are not looking into, but they are looking into this point in very detailed manner. Yes, so in detailed manner, the ethics committee approval is necessary. Yes, and I would always recommend, okay, to get the ethics approval from an ethics body which is having DCGI number or OHRP number. Yes, because institutional ethics bodies which are not having any regulatory numbers are generally not accepted in CTRI. Yes, so Drug Controller General of India. So if you are having an ethics committee, okay, we will discuss about how to form an ethics committee in my next lecture for Sairam Academy. Uh, but it is necessary that if you form an ethics committee includes of a subject expert, a lawyer, a layperson, a statistician, yes, and there are n number human representative, etc. So there is 10 to 15 people who are supposed to be there into the ethics committee, basic scientist and etc. So in that cases, the ethics committee should have a valid registration number. So for example, we have an Indian Association of Physiotherapists, so that association of physiotherapists is valid. Why? Because it is having a registration number and it is having the majority of population of physiotherapists registered in that association. Yes, so similarly, if somebody forms founds another association like Indian Association of Physiotherapists or Physical Therapists. There is no value of those as that association. Yes, because there is no registration, plus there are no numbers of physiotherapists. So similarly, an ethics committee which is registered under DCGI numbers, because they are supposed to send regular intervals. They are supposed to send certain documents for their approvals. So CTRI doesn't accept the uh, ethics committee which is not having any registration. Please mark my words. Okay. So then regulatory clearance from DCGI, if applicable. So it is generally in our uh, physical therapy or rehabilitative sciences, this is not applicable. Okay. This where it is applicable, drugs controller of general of India, wherein any drugs are studied in human participants. Like for example, currently studies are going on for plasma therapy and various antiviral drugs for COVID-19. So DCGI gives approval. Yes. So for us, the studies are basically regulatory clearance is not necessary, but you can go through it if it is necessary. You are supposed to apply for that. Same health condition and problem studied. This is as per international classification ICF. Yes, or previously it was known as International Classification of Disease, ICIDH. Yes, so this is as per ICIF classification functioning. uh, they have a drop down menu, the joint to be studied, the uh, area to be studied of the body and etc. So you directly get the number. So it is a very drop down menu, very simple, very good. So no issues while selecting those things. Again, study type, it is a randomized control trial, single arm trial, etc. My sincere request to every academician, every researcher over here is, please don't force your students to, or please don't force yourself also to get your registered trial registered if your study is an observatory study. Please, that is basically of no value, just to show off that you have a CTRI number. Okay, don't do that, please. Okay, if you are basically interested in doing it, because people who are aware about CTRI will always have a question. Yes, that it is an observation study, why you are getting it registered into CTR. If it is a survey, why you are getting it registered. If it is a systematic review, why you are getting it registered in the clinical trial registry of India. It is of no value. You know, it is of no value means it is unnecessary documentation. Okay, when mark my words, if you are doing a clinical trial, it is mandatory. Okay, then intervention and comparative agents. So for example, uh, A versus B. So A becomes your intervention and B is your comparator. You are supposed to mention inclusion and exclusion criteria, methods of generating randomization sequence. So for example, how we are going to randomize, whether it is lottery method or whether it is computerized generated methods, how we are going to randomize. Method of allocation, blinding is there or not, what are the primary outcomes, what are the secondary outcomes. For example, pain is your primary outcome and functional performance is your secondary outcome. You are supposed to mention what will be your target sample size if you are doing it in India and if you are doing it outside, both. So for example, I have 200 sample size, and among that 100 will be from India and 100 will be from other nations. I'm supposed to mention what were the phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, post marketing surveillance. So these are as per the drug clinical trial registry phases. You cannot phase your studies randomly, that it is phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. No, you are supposed to phase it as per the drug trials phases: phase 1, 2, 3, and 4. What will be the date of first enrollment? So for example, today is 30th April 2020. I'm registering it today, and until and unless I don't get the number, I cannot enroll. So for example, I've given 30th April and say I'm telling that I'll be registering my participant on 1st May 20 and 20. It is not accepted. Until and unless you don't get the CTRI number, you are not supposed to move ahead with the first enrollment of the patient. First thing, again, if it is 30th April, you are applying on 30th April and you say 29th of April is the first enrollment, it is also not accepted. Estimated duration of trial: 1 year, 2 years, or in the months you can mention. Recruitment status: for example, you are currently recruiting, pending, temporarily suspended, completed, or others. So for example, this is what you are supposed to uh, update regularly. So for example, uh, uh, before to the enrollment of the first patient, it will be pending, and then once you get the number, you will update it to recruitment. And if there is some problems like this COVID-19 issue, you are supposed to update it again that it is temporarily suspended. You are supposed to mention why, because of COVID-19 issues. Okay, and then once again, if you start, you are updating it as recruiting, and then if it is completed, you are supposed to mention it completed, and you are supposed to give a brief summary. For example, you are doing it in osteoarthritis knee, so you will write that the knee is this kind of joint. It is made up of by femur on the upper, and tibia and fibula and to the lower side, and patella. And then what are the grades of ONE, and what is the role of DFT, and what is the role of ultrasound. A brief summary, very brief summary. What are the number of patients, how we are doing it. So that is what you are supposed to do it. This is your data set. I hope this is very much clear. The data set is then, once you fill up this data set, this data set is in PDF, it is available. So first, my suggestion is that the PDF is available onto the CTRI website. You take the printout of this CTRI data set, fill it up, okay, concerned with your co-authors, okay, and then you try the online data set filling. Once the data set is filled up and it is submitted to the CTRI, they will communicate if there are issues. You are supposed to solve those issues, and then if there are no issues, they will give you a CTRI reference number. CTRI checks the data sets and sendbacks. Trial for clarification, modification. If found incomplete and inappropriate, the person registering has to clarify details before any further processing. Yes, CTRI verifies the trial from principal investigator, contact person of scientific and public category, who can be the same or different. As I said, a unique registration number is provided to the trial once found complete and verified. This registration number needs to be stated while submission of the study in any journal. So you have a number. Yes, uh, that number is supposed to be stated. So now what are the tips? This is the last segment and very interesting segment. Postgraduate thesis. The concerned guide of the postgraduate should be as account as principal investigator while registering. Uh, Without the attachment of the scan ethics committee approval letter, the submission of the trial is incomplete. So there is a different section for postgraduate thesis also into the CTRI website. And as I said, ethics committee, they look into ethics committee that whether the trial is genuine trial or not, is it going to harm or not. In case of physiotherapy, there are very less chances that we would be harming. For example, there are conditions like dry needling and all those things where an intervention is needed. More vigilant ethics committee is necessary, so that any human participant is not harmed during the clinical trial. For the public title, medical jargons are to be avoided. Medical jargons means the medical terms are to be avoided, and it should be written in easy to understand words for lay people. Instead of efficacy or effectiveness, the word effect may be used. In the study, academic exercises, investigator initiated trial, the source of monetary material support should be acknowledged as an institutional, because source of patients or investigational medicine support is borne by the institute. So for example, I'm an academician. My study is allowing me to conduct a study. My institute is allowing me to conduct a study at my center, my academic institute. uh, so I am supposed to mention my academic institute's name in that institute, in the monetary or material support section, as an acknowledgement also. And in these cases, if they have any doubts, they can contact the institutional head regarding this. Primary sponsor may or may not be the funding agency, but it is responsible for initiation, conduct, and management of the study. So basically, there are certain times that only primary sponsor gives a funding for first patient or second patient. So it is basically not responsible for initiation. Yes, but basically it is managing the whole scenario. It is the responsibility of the sponsor, in majority of the cases, to ascertain whether DCGI approval is required or not. If there is no sponsor, it is the responsibility of primary investigator. Okay. International non-proprietary name (INN) is to be used if possible. That is, for example, generic names. No brand names are supposed to use. That is for drugs, not for us, because we are generally using IFT. So, for example, we have an X company making IFT. So it always questions the CTRI also, and to the journal people also, that if you are saying that X company IFT, effectiveness of X company IFT in shoulder pain. So this gives me a question whether the X company has paid you for doing the study or not. Okay. So if X company has paid you, it becomes the sponsor, and in majority of the cases, it is a positive outcome of the study. No company wants their item or their product to be de-recognized. So please make sure, please do your work ethically. Okay. So for an unregistered drug, the generic name, chemical name is supposed to be used. This is for the drugs component, which is probably not as much important for us as a physical therapist or rehabilitation specialist. For each intervention, description of other intervention details should be provided. So you are supposed to give dosage also. This is very much important in our segment also, that you are giving a dosage value also. You cannot state that effectiveness of IFT in shoulder pain. If it is IFT, yes, whether it is two pole, whether it is four pole. If it is four pole, whether it is continuous or vector. If it is vector, which type of vector it is, 45 degrees vector or 90 degrees vector. If it is 90 degrees of vector, which waveform you are using, triangular, trapezoidal or rectangular waveform. If you are using rectangular waveform, why you are using rectangular waveform, why is it a chronic pain or is it an acute pain, and what duration of the treatment. So every dosage and how we are going to administer it. So that is what you are supposed to mention in your dosage section also. Most importantly, registering once is not the end of the exercise. Generally what people do, you have got a CTRI number, you are the king of research. You will go and boost everywhere that I have CTRI number, I have CTRI number, I have CTRI number. Yes, people who are understanding the CTRI will ask you, show me whether it is updated. And when you see the trial is registered 2 years back and there is no updation. Okay, so it is very much essential. It is very much essential. So people who are listening to this video and at current phase of time, and if you have registered in CTRI, please make sure that you update your trial register as temporary suspended, as I mentioned in my previous slide, because if you're not recruiting your study participants. So I'm very much thankful to Sairam Academy for providing me this platform and putting trust on me to explain this as a CTRI registration, how to register CTRI into CTRI, how to register a clinical trial into CTRI. And I hope you all enjoyed listening to this video and looking forward for another lecture on ethics committee. I'm very much thankful. If you have any doubts, please contact Sairam Academy comment box, or you can also mail me at drparthtrivedi@live.in. That is Dr. Parth Trivedi at live.in. Thank you. Thank you very much.